Okay, so we're gonna make a snap fit box and make sure you edit it so that it becomes your own. Okay, make sure you name it properly, and then we're gonna get going. So the first thing we want to do is create some variables. So that's gonna be under where's the variables? Under the what is this feature? The plane feature, and we're gonna click on variable. So the variable will give us some constraints later on if you want to change the whatever you want. So the first thing you want to do is the shell. That's going to be any. So this can be a number, can be a distance. So we're going to do the shell as 0.05, and the shell is the thickness between the wall. Okay. And then for my next variable, I want to decide the width of my case. And for my case, I'm going to do a 2-inch width. Okay, so that's going to be 2-inch width. And then for my next variable, I'm going to do a depth, length. Let's do length first. Okay, so length, I'm going to do about 3 inches for my length. And then depth, so how far it's going to go. How far I'm going to extrude, it's going to be 1.5. So all these should be length, and then the last number that I'm going to do is the gap. So the tolerance, the distance between the like any of the gaps. So that's going to be from ahead of time. I'm going to say any. It's going to be the shell. Okay, so the shell formula plus I believe I did a tolerance of. I believe it's 1/64th. Yeah, so 1/64th, and you might have to change this based on your printer, but okay, and that should have all of the variables here. So this is what's going to be controlling your box, and you're going to make it according to how you want. So you can go ahead and do it like mine, and then you can change this later on if you want to make your box bigger, smaller, and then edit it as you wish. Okay. So I'm going to start from my top view right here, and I'm going to sketch a center rectangle, and I'm going to create it in the center, of course. Let's go here. Okay, and I'm going to dimension it using my variables. So, let's go back into my sketch. I'm going to make my see my width. Here's a slow. Okay. So I'm going to make the width right here. From here to here, this is going to be the width. So I'm going to type in width, and then I'm going to click on width, and it will, the width will be controlled by that number here. And I'm going to go from my length. That's going to be the length. Okay, so this is the length here that we're going to check. All right, so now that I have that, I'm going to accept my sketch, and I'm going to extrude it. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to extrude it to the depth of, oops, so my depth right here should have been, I'll change it in a second, okay. This right here, I'm going to extrude it to the depth of what I had designed. So right now it's 1.5. Okay, so actually that's perfect. I'm going to check that. Okay, so I actually went to isometric view right here, so you can see that. All right, so now that we have our box, we're going to shell it out. Okay, so I'm going to grab the shell at the top, and then I'm going to shell it out. Okay, so now my shell thickness. So this is where the shell variable is going to come in. So here, I'm going to type in shell. So that's going to control my my shell thickness. Okay. Alrighty, perfect. I'm going to accept that, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fillet the edges. So I'm just going to select them all. Here, let's see, here, here. Oops. Okay, here. So I'm going to select all of them, and then I'm going to go to, of course, working. I'm going to go to fillet. Where's fillet? Okay, right here. And I'm actually going to make my fillet the same as my shell. Okay, so I'm going to do shell, and let's see what happens. Why is this orange? Let's see why here. Let's try that again. Okay, that's good. Let's add that. Okay, so that works. And then I'm going to accept that, and that controls the fillet as well. All right, so we're gonna make the part that's going to snap onto the lid, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to do actually section view, and I'm going to grab this plane and I'm going to pull it in so that I can see it from the right view. Okay, and then now I'm going to work on the right view. So I'm going to check that, and then from here I'm going to sketch this plane. So I'll make sure I highlight this plane right here. And then I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to center it in a little bit and make it straight over and then up. Okay, I'm going to dimension it here in a second. So the width of the line is going to be the same as the shell unit. Okay, the shell. And then the okay, let me zoom in, and then the length of this is going to be half of the width. Okay, so it's always going to be whatever your width is, divide by 2. Okay, so that will keep it good. Okay. And then the next thing you're going to notice is this is free to move back and forth. So we want to create a construction line from here to here. Okay, make sure it snaps in, and then create a center point here. Let's see, I got the center point on my construction line. Okay, the little squares to show up. And then I'm going to snap this point to this spot right here. So I'm going to use my coincident point and line. There we go. So the point and the line in the same place, and then I'm going to check that. Okay, perfect. All right, so now it's all black, so it's been dimensioned properly. It's not going to move anymore, and everything is controlled by the parameters up above. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we are going to extrude this, so that's why I hit that. So we're going to extrude this, and we're going to make a, so I'm going to actually go in isometric view here. So we're going to actually make this, oops, this part right here. Let's grab that little part right here. I'm going to ungrab that part and then grab this piece right here. That's way too big, of course. We're going to draft it. So drafting it, as you can see, lets it come out at you at a certain angle. Okay, so the angle can go out or it can go in. So we're actually going to go in at a 45 degree angle, and then our depth is going to be, I believe it's going to be, okay, so the depth of that is going to be the shell. So let's say this is the shell. Okay, and we want to keep this small so it kind of clicks in. Okay, so as you can see it right here, so let me check that. Okay, it's like a little like triangular lever thing so that you can see it was hook onto the lid. Okay, so now I need to mirror this from this side to the other side so that it does the same thing. So I'm actually going to turn my section view off, okay? I'm going to grab the mirror tool right here. So this is going to mirror a part. So I'm actually going to mirror, I'm just going to click this right here. And the plane that I'm going to mirror it's going to be the right plane because it's symmetric on the right plane. So let me grab that, the right plane. And it should, yeah, and it should pop up on the other side. So I click on the part one, and then I just say mirror to the right plane, and then check. Okay, so everything you do on one side will show up on the other side as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to rename the part one, and we're going to name it as the container. And then it's time for us to work on our lid. So now that this is the top of the container, we're going to still use this and create a lid right on top of this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new sketch right here. And the plane that I'm going to use is actually, it's going to go about right here, okay? This plane on sketch 3. And then I'm just going to accept that right here. Yes, okay, so right here, and then I'm going to extrude. So I'm going to stay in there, and I'm going to extrude. So what I'm going to extrude is going to be a new, okay, a new. I'm going to add, let's see, this one. Oops, the inside and the outside. So let me actually redo that. Okay, inside, and then the outside. Okay. All right, perfect. And then now I got to work on the depth. The depth of this, I'm going to keep it as the same as the shell, not really thin, so that it flexes. And then we're going to hit accept. Okay. And it should be new. Okay, this should be new, so you should have a new part down here, and then you want to hit check. So down here in part 2, I'm going to rename this as my lid. So container method. So now that you have this lid, we are going to add the hooks to that, okay? All right, so now I'm going to add the part where the snap will hook into. So I'm going to hide my container so that I can see my lid only, and I'm going to go to the bottom view, right, like this, and I'm going to zoom in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sketch on this plane on the bottom and create an offset. Okay, so let me see, offset first. I'm going to click all the lines. We'll see what it does. It's going to just do a copy of that. And that, oops, and that, okay. So then now I don't want it to go out, I want it to go inwards. Okay, so I'm going to grab this and pull it in. Okay, I'm not going to worry about the dimension yet because I'm going to use my variable up here. Okay, so then now I'm going to grab my dimension and change this right here to the variable gap. Okay, so that's going to be the shell plus the tolerance, which I said was 1/64 of an inch. So that's going to be the gap, and then hit enter, and that's what you have right here. Okay, and then you can hit check real quick to make sure everything works. Okay, so now we're going to extrude. Okay, so I'm going to extrude the inside, and that is going to be the shell times the shell times I think 1.5. So just a little bit longer than the shell, but not too much. I'm going to extrude it that way. Let's make sure it works. Okay, and it does. And then you have that little lip that will slide right into your box. Okay, awesome. All right, for the next part, I'm going to need my container back. I'm going to need to go to isometric view, and I'm also going to need to do some section view. So I have this view right here, and I'm actually going to section this way so I can see the inside of the box for the most part, okay? Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the container transparent. And you'll see why here in a little bit. Okay. I can kind of work with that. Okay, I think I can kind of work with that. Okay, so I just zoomed in. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go find my sketch when I created the angle, which is sketch 2, and I'm going to make that visible. Okay. And what you're going to do is you're going to extrude it, but to remove it so that it has the same hold as the other as well. Okay. So like I said, you go this way and it's red because it's conflicting. So I'm actually going to remove it. Okay. And turn it the other way. Let's see. Yep. Okay. So that works. That's going to remove it. And 1 inch is going to be way too much. So I'm going to change it. For the draft definitely needs to be 45 degrees. Okay, and like you see, the angle is out. I want it to angle inward. Opposite direction, please. Let's see. Okay, so that's perfect. And then the depth is going to be the gap, but I'm actually going to double it. Gap times, I believe, 2. Okay, gap times 2. So I'm going to take my gap and let's try that again. Gap times 2. Okay, okay, perfect. And I'm going to accept. Okay, something that way. Oh, merge scope with the lid. Okay, and then accept. There we go. Now it should work. There we go. And then you have this little sliver that will hook it right in. So now we need to mirror to the other side. So just like how we did the other side, we're going to do the same thing, but on the other side. So I'm going to grab my mirror function up at the top. Here's mirror, and I'm going to grab the lid, and I'm going to mirror that. So grab the lid, mirror plane is going to be the right plane, that's right in the middle, okay? And then instead of new or add or remove, we're going to intersect. I believe that's what I did. Or merge scope, this is the lid. Okay, I think it's intersect. Pretty sure it's intersect. Okay. And then we're going to check and make sure that works. Give it a second. Okay, and then I'm going to turn my section view off so that I can see it. And there you go. It mirror on the other side as well. So, so whatever you do on one side, it will do the same on the other side. Okay. Perfect. So now the last thing we're going to do is I'm actually going to shell the lid out. So I'm going to take this shell here and I'm going to shell it out, and it does a really great job with the shell. And then, like I say, shell thickness is just going to be whatever my shell thickness is. I'm just making sure it's uniform so you don't have a lot of variable. And then as you can see, you have this little gap on the inside where it should hook right in. Okay. And now that we have that, we're going to fillet some edges. So we're actually do the top and the bottom right here. Okay. And the reason we want to do that is so that it kind of slides. It snaps nicely in. So here's this. And we're going to go to fillet. And I'm going to fillet the top part, and I'm going to make sure that it is, and the bottom, and I'm going to the other side as well. And then the radius is going to be the shell, but then I'm going to divide it by 2 because I'm going to try to keep it small. Okay, so I'm going to go to the right side, and I'm going to select that as well. Oh, that was the right side. Okay, I'm going to go to the left side. Let's select that as well. So go to the left side. Is that okay? I did something. Well, okay. Check. Okay. And let's have it snap right in. So I actually made the fillet a little bit smaller, divide by 3, just because, as you can see, that was looking kind of weird. So, okay, so now you're able to see the inside gap. Perfect. Okay, so like I said, I only got the left side, so I need to go to my right side and include this in as well. So I'm going to click that, and it says Mirror 2, and it should take care of that, and it does. And I'm going to hit check. And that is it. So when you create a drawing, so let's do this. Let's make that both of them visible. So when you create a drawing, you're going to do 2. One for your lid, and then one for your container. So you're going to go right, create a drawing of container, and then right, create a drawing of your lid. Okay, and then that's it. And then you will have your perfect snap fit box.